So the other question we need to ask when we're creating a social media strategy, shocker, what social channels to use and why? And you want to align it to your audience that you're trying to target. So what do they use? And is it frequent? Is it still current? Is it trending down? Is it trending up? What do they use it for? All those kind of questions. Right. So because we've just done our quick ChatGPT research, we now know the country in Vietnam and the different cities. So Ho Chi Minh, Chi, Dang Nam. You know what? I'm not going to carry on and embarrass myself trying to pronounce them. And we know the age group, 28 to 32. Maybe we want to extend it to 36 for age. It's up to us. But at the moment, let's maybe stick to 28 to 32, and they may have some work experience. The questions, again, we'd want to ask ourselves and do research for to then formulate it into a document and a strategy that will give our clients, and they can start kicking things off, or we can if we're doing the actual work itself. What social media channels to use? We know our audience. So the type of questions I'm going to ask, and we're going to use ChatGPT again for, is what's the most popular platform? So there's going to be several, right? So what is the most popular, do you think, in Vietnam, or the cities even? So does the cities change things? I've got ahead of myself. Then having a look at the audience, we know the age group, but we actually don't know if there's a gender split, right? So different cultures, not different cultures, maybe it is that word, right? Different university courses sometimes can lead to a certain gender demographic, but sometimes they don't, right? It just sometimes depends on the culture. So Vietnam, I'd want to understand the culture split a bit more of using these social platforms. I might also do some research about who's more likely to sign up for the MBA. So on the MBA, I can ask then ChatGPT if it can split it by gender. Maybe we'll ask some more questions about the purchasers. Then we also ask if the social channel, though it might be the most popular, is it trending down or is it trending up with that particular age group? So let's get back to ChatGPT and have a little bit of a look at what we can ask. So ask the question, are there different areas in Vietnam more likely to enter a postgraduate MBA degree? I wondered whether it might change for gender. So let's have a question, ask that. Are there different areas in Vietnam more likely to enter most postgraduate MBA degree? And does it change by gender? Just ask, right? Who knows? Yes, different area in Vietnam. This can also vary by gender. So can you tell me how much? Let's see if it tells us. Detailed breakdown. Yeah, so far, I'm not seeing how it's split. Gender differences. While exact gender-specific data in MBA enrollment in Vietnam may not be readily available, general trends can be inferred based on global and regional studies. Okay, so have a look. In the cities, balanced gender representation, brilliant. Increased female participation, brilliant. Summary, the centres of the postgraduate with a likely balanced gender representation. All right. This is now giving me a bit more confidence that we can target both groups, okay, the gender groups, because it seems a bit more of equality there, which is good to know. I like that. And you sometimes, if you really needed to, you could go more detailed studies, and there's different ones out there. I think it's Statistica I use as a site. We will look at some other reference sites to check and qualify some of this data, just so you can be assured, which we should do, right? Because ChatGPT is an AI tool. It's gathering all the information. It's pretty good in terms of this stuff and what I've sense checked so far in terms of social media and looking at the research. But you should always sense check things. It's a good marketing practice to do that. But again, I digress. This is giving me confidence. It looks like there is a split between genders here, the female and the male. Okay. I really should allow you to see things a bit quicker. So let me do my screen. So you can obviously pause this if you need to. Let's scroll down. I'm going to go right to the top so you can see it. And I think as part of this course, I'm going to share the links as well. So you get to see a bit more what the information is produced and the prompts that you use to produce the information. So let me do this, just because then in the course, you can easily see the information and stop where you need. And then you can understand with my gabble how it all applies. Right. Silence. It's my Achilles heel, shall we say? Like the lag bulb of it. Okay. Are we there? Okay, we're there. The other question I now want to know, going back to the presentation that's supposed to help guide me as much of anything as well as this course, is what social media channels are being used or are the most popular in Vietnam? And even the cities breaking it down. So, most popular social media channels in Vietnam, the age groups are 28 to 32. You know what? We can actually extend it to 36 if we wanted to. Let's do that. 36. I want to give it a go. Actually, let's do, 36. Why not? We could reduce it down to 32. It doesn't matter. You just need to sense check things as you go along. Right. So these are the results I've got from 28 to 36. Cool. Right. What this is starting to tell me, when you look at the different, you've got Facebook. Immediately, because Facebook is something that in some other mature markets is in a decline, I'd probably want to sense check the timing, like if it's still on the incline and relatively used now. Because remember, we're building awareness for now, like short term. So we want to know this platform's still quite dominant and it's fine. But in the future, say if it's about the engagement ongoing once they're a postgraduate, Facebook might not be the right choice. It just depends if there's a decline in their usage or not, because there is a decline in other mature markets like in the States and in the UK. They have YouTube quite a lot, so that might indicate shorts might be a good thing to do, or long-form content on education, especially as it's in university. Zello, now that's a WhatsApp type equivalent. I'm not sure this will be the right thing here, because I'd probably want to use it from some kind of like customer service engagement, and I don't think they're there yet, unless they wanted to create like an AI tool that used it, like a chatbot or something, but that's maybe not for now. Instagram, I like this one because now I can do my reels, I can do my posts. I'm starting to think, great, visual. I've got my purchasers also, this is going in my mind, I've got my purchasers that are also going to want convincing about why this is the right course. So I can start doing nice visual infographics or videos to show the value of the course, you know, what is the expected career outcome or money of the role once you've learned or kind of you finished your MBA studies, and the expected money and value of the career that you can get after that, or the type of careers even. I know if I was a parent, I want to know the longevity and the value of this in the real world afterwards. So what are my prospects? What could I get? As well as other engaging content like, for the actual students itself, which could be information about AI technologies, how it's used, etc., which we'll go through later in terms of content. TikTok again. TikTok's quite good at promoting education, so this will be a good one because the algorithm likes it at the moment. I caveat, watch out with these things because algorithms for social media channels change all the time. They don't have to tell you how it changes. But at the moment, TikTok does seem to value education. And then LinkedIn, as you would expect, for the ages of 28 and up. So maybe that's not my initial one to create awareness, you never know, or at least not create awareness on a more mass scale, a more targeted area for those that have done education, etc. So maybe it's something I'll phase in a little bit later. Who knows? Because remember, you need to prioritize these things. You could do everything, but how much time do we have? How many people do we have? So start off in where you think you're going to get your biggest wins, you're going to get your biggest audience, you're going to get your biggest reach aligned to your audience, and then grow from there. Look at the interaction, see what works and what doesn't work, and tweak and change as we go along. Platform insights, as you would expect, it's just telling you a little about the channels. And then the summary, it's just saying, what is it saying? For the age group of 26 to 36 in Vietnam, Facebook, YouTube remain the top social media. Now, if I think we had it to 32, didn't we? I've got a feeling it's going to be roughly the same. But like you would do research, let's test it and see. So I think I said 32. Let's change it to 32. Most popular. Oh, guess what? Facebook again. Guess what? YouTube again. The WhatsApp with type Sallow again. Instagram again. Come on, be TikTok. Come on, TikTok again. And then we got LinkedIn. Okay, so even though I extend the age group or the age range, I'm kind of finding that I can do that now, and it's still going to be roughly similar to the same social channels that we have, which makes me feel a bit more confident. This is why I love ChatGPT, right? I used to have to do so much research on those different sites. Now I just amend a parameter just slightly, and I've got my results quite quickly, and I'm quite confident in the approach and the style that I'm going forward because I've researched it. Yes, I am going to sense check against other material, and I'm not doing that now because, being quite honest, I've done this for a few years. I know roughly what it is. Okay, so I know the other sources and I already know this is matching up. But I will give you some other sources to look at so you can do it yourselves and build confidence in those things and make sure you sense check things over time. Right. Or with your client, shall I say. What is my other question I'm going to ask? So we know that the popular social channels per age group. Let's find out if it changes by city, shall we? Does the city change things? Does this change by city? Do you know what? I like ChatGPT as well because it corrects my bad English. I swear I'm dyslexic sometimes, but hey. Right, so does this change by city within Vietnam? Right. Well, I don't think I have to qualify because it's still got the original search query that I said Vietnam. As you can tell, I don't need to. And I'm also starting to see it picked up on some of the more areas that we probably want to target because they're more likely to do an MBA degree. So let's have a look. Still carrying on. Yeah, it has it up here. Facebook, broad adoption, similar to HCM. This was, God, what city was that one? HCMC. It's not a catchy name, is it? But it was. Yeah. See if they've got it up here. Hi, Ho Chi Minh City. Okay. This is my really bad pronunciation, so sorry. So Facebook, extremely popular. We already know that city. What other city? Again, it's referencing that city quite a lot. And it's the same social channels. We've got Facebook, YouTube, Zello, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Then we have the other city, Hanoi, which let me just double check. I think matches. Yeah, that was another city that they identified as people more likely to be into an MBA degree. Same list. Again, this is another city that identified an MBA degree. Great, this is looking good. They're all aligned to people that have a propensity to do the master's degree, or the cities that have a propensity. And there's other pieces that you start looking at TikTok, they'll give you some additional insight. Have a look at this. This will give you confidence when you talk to your client about why you're choosing certain things or why you're using your targeting, or why might you be using, be it organic with hashtags, events, groups you're joining, as well as what you might do for your paid media. All right, I'm just thinking, let's then think, one of the most popular, I could have used a different search term, right? So does it change by cities? But I could have been more prescriptive. So I'm going to show you. I could have said, what are the most popular social channels in Vietnam for our age group, which in this case I'll do 28 to 32, but you could do up to 36. And I could call out the specific cities, right? This again just helps me qualify and confirm my understanding, my research, my approach, and build my confidence with my clients. It's nicely given a list for me now, so it's less a bit talkative. Like I like the list, if I'm honest. I'm like, yeah, makes sense. Thank you very much. And through everything, it's Facebook, YouTube, so maybe YouTube Shorts and long form content, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. For me, I probably will do LinkedIn later on because it's probably going to be for a smaller group of the people that have kind of gone and had a bit more of a career, shall we say. And I've got a feeling, and this is more from my insight with the client, right? In this case, that I know they want to target more the people coming straight out of school. But you have to take these insights into account as well when you're working with your clients. we've gone through, we've identified the different cities for the social media and the propensity to purchase MBA courses. We've also looked at the age demographics for those as well. Now, what I want to do is just sense check it, because do you remember we had these things called purchasers? So I want to sense check that the purchasers and what social channels they're also using. And because this did cut off, it's a bit like Blue Peter style, what I created before. So the prompt I've actually written is, what are the most popular social channels for parents in Vietnam? Now, I actually don't know the age demographics of parents in Vietnam, so I've not put an age group on this one. And I'm not sure I need to at this stage, but you could do additional research if you wanted to, but just know that there's not always that level of detail. And this has nicely produced the results for us. And guess what? They're kind of similar platforms. So I'm not too worried. Again, it's Facebook is the top one. There's Zalo, which is their WhatsApp. We're not worried too much about that now. YouTube. So that's for our shorts again, or our long form content. So for this case with parents, maybe we can use it as a maybe even like a Q&A platform, like a feedback platform, where we look at providing additional information of why these courses might be right for their children. Or a guardian, I should say, or a business, like what future prospects will it bring? And maybe longer term, you'll be interviewing some of the professors. So we can use channels in different ways. Instagram, again, a bit like we have with the students. TikTok's there as well. TikTok's quite a good one to know, but it's a growing platform. Personally, at the moment, I might be focusing TikToks. Actually, would I? I was going to say I focus TikTok on maybe the students, because people are saying, you know, TikTok's a younger thing, generation, but it's not really at the moment, especially in the more mature markets. And I have to say that because I'm old and I'm on there. But I wouldn't probably negate TikTok at the moment. I would try and grow that following quite from the outset. So I correct myself there. Okay. And then they're saying that parents will be on dedicated forums and that kind of thing. You don't need to worry about that now when we're looking to build like an awareness, but we might want to consider it when we want to help them with the decision of why the MBA is the right thing for them. So what kind of, actually we could use it for advertising maybe. So what kind of groups are they on? And can we use paid media advertising that targets those similar groups to get in the front of the purchasers? Okay, right. But long story short, I did this because I wanted to check if the parents are using the same social media channels as the students, or if we have to create a different treatment. And the good news is they're using the same channels. Yes, there'll be different communication messages and different styles we want to get across, but we'll handle that a bit later in this course. Okay. Right, so in summary, for parents, Facebook, the WhatsApp, the YouTube, Instagram, and the TikTok. So Zalo was the WhatsApp. The next question that I want to know, so going back to students again, and this is for a client presentation as well. So when you're doing a strategy, you want to present your findings to that client. And I like ChatGPT because it makes my life a little bit easier for me. So I'm actually going to ask them, what is the most popular social channels between the ages of 28 and 32 in the cities that we've identified? But then I'm actually going to ask them to create it in a chart, right? Because at the moment, everything's been a bit wordy. But I want something I can put in slides in a presentation that makes my life a bit easier and makes me look really good. So I'm going to ask them to put in a chart. But I'm also going to ask them if there's anything different in terms of the gender. So can you put it in a chart, and can you split it by gender across the social channels, per the age group, per the cities, and per the gender? Now, we'll have a look here. Now, ChatGPT doesn't allow you to have interactive charts at the moment, but it does actually create it like a JPEG, or I think it's a PNG, an image, should we say, that you can have a look and then you can put into your slides. And we'll have a look at that in a minute. As you can see, nicely tells us interactive charts for this type not yet supported. You never know, they might do in the future, and I think they might do things like that. Now, the one thing I want to address here is I'm asking gender, not because I think it's getting a bit more fluid in how we advertise, right? There's no like the old school male, female kind of, you know, masculine traits, feminine traits in how you advertise, and nor should there be, right? Because gender is kind of, there's a multitude of different gender types. Now, ChatGPT at the moment doesn't identify them, and that's not ChatGPT's fault. It uses all this data to accumulate it together, and then it's using the historical data to produce results. Right? The historical data over time hasn't been there about all the different gender types yet. So at the moment, we're getting the very historical male, female. Just use it as a guideline, okay, at this stage. The reason why I'm asking it is now is because it gives me additional insight. I may not use it, but it might give me additional insight, especially in some cultures or countries, right? So maybe there could be different treatment. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It's just me connecting with the audience through social media in a respectful way for the cultures that I'm talking to, right? And I do believe, and I hope so, fingers crossed, over time, it'll put all the additional genders that we should have in here, but we need the data in the first place. Right, I digressed a little bit. So let's actually go and have a look at this chart. So if I download it, one thing you should note, it doesn't give it nice naming conventions. So it'd be some horrible naming convention. I'm going to go and have a look. So I downloaded it. Oh, not sure if you can see that on the screen, but they called it really nice outputs.png. As you can see from this chart, it's got a colour legend, male, female represented by different colours. Male's the lighter colour in this one, female's the dark blue colour. And we also have it split by different cities. I'm going to go down so you can see. So here's the cities at the bottom. Then each chart type represents the social channel. And then they have a number of percentage of users to represent those demographics. But what I'm really having a look at here is, can you see the bar charts? They're pretty much similar. I wouldn't worry. There's no significant difference. The reason why you might want to look at this, if one was significantly larger than the other, you might want to change your comm strategy to target that. And that's really it. And that's a good use for it. But at the moment, of course, Facebook, YouTube, the WhatsApp channel, we're not necessarily going to use Zella at the moment, and Instagram, it's very much similar, and TikTok, which is good to know. But it's also something that you would, one, you're qualifying your confidence in a social media strategy, but also as well, giving these and sharing these charts with your clients, you can take them along the journey and how you built this confidence and your connection to that audience. On this chart this much. So I now have a chart, but a question I might ask that might help simplify things, and I only noticed it because I saw my prompts from earlier, is I might ask them to put it in a table instead. So I know I've digressed and gone back a bit, and I still want to know about social media over time, but I might say, hey, for ease in a presentation to a client and for ease of me, can you put this in a table for me? And then after it's done its thing of analysing, we will look at different, not genders, we will look at the actual time of the different social media channels and the level of usage over time. Right. Okay, so this is a bit better. Okay, so it's telling me in a nice chart. So what I'd probably do in a client presentation is use this chart on one of the slides, but also have my graph as an appendices. Looks like we've done a lot more research. Okay. So let's go back to what I was originally going to ask. So I was going to ask, what is the social media usage over time across years? Let's ask that until today. Let's see what it does with this one, right? I actually haven't read the prompt, so we'll find out how we do it on the spot. To find an overview of social media channels over time in Vietnam, let's consider the growth trends. Okay, this is probably giving me a bit too much information. I don't want it to this level, but it is telling me, it's giving me some background. So it's good if you're new to more of the social media to see how things are trending in terms of their usage over time. So we've got this, but I don't want it to this level for a client or for qualifying that what I'm going to do going forward. So I'm going to say, then you create this in a chart. Okay, let's see if this nicely wants to create for me. Let's see what it does. It would be nice if I could see the social usage across years. And really, maybe that's probably what I should have put as a prompt, but I'm kind of ad-libbing it here a bit, if I'm honest. Not because I don't know what to do, but because I lost track of where I was on the script. Let's give it a go. So it's analyzing. So we can produce it in a chart. Another thing you might want to do for your client, I quite like that, is you could put it in a table. See, it's nice. It kind of it gives me really easy visuals I could give to a client quite quickly. Okay, so we've got usage index, and they split it by year, and they split it by social channels, and they started from 2010 to 2023. Now, what I'm really just getting from this is there doesn't seem to be a decline yet. And I don't think ChatGPT can do predictions. So it all seems like it's going on the up. So I wouldn't see it's necessarily a mature market in terms of social usage. I would only think it might go on a decline based on how other mature markets of social usage, like the States and the UK, have declined when it comes to Facebook. Okay. But you never know. Facebook might reinvent or do new things that might keep that kind of incline going up. You don't know. Things could change over time. I'm now curious. So I'm going to see if ChatGPT can you predict the usage for 2024 and onwards. Let's see if it can do it. I'm actually not sure if it can. By the way, this is kind of digressing because for immediate social media channel and building awareness, you wouldn't necessarily look at this, but this is giving you insight to see how you create a social media strategy over time. So especially if it's a longer form social media strategy where you need to nurture that brand, and sometimes there's minimal purchasing points, right? So you might have to do a lot of social media before they've even purchased anything. So let's have a look. Oh, there is predictions. To visualize those predictions, we can extend the 10 lines further. And it's done it for me even. It's created the trend lines further. I like this. So they do think that Facebook's going to go up. My gut feeling is I'm not sure it would do. But again, just use this and have a look and see what you think when you create anything for your client. And half of this is all about confidence. It is about you feeling confident in what you're presenting. And I say that because things can change all the time. They can change their social media algorithms all the time. They can bring new features. So algorithms can change about how you get your organic displaying on a profile, or even how the ad media is displayed. And they don't have to tell you that. And new features can be released so they can buy new products up, which is typically what they do. They amalgamate. So this is a prediction from them, may or may not ring true, but it helps you have confidence in things. And because you don't know what the future is going to be, what you do is you use your analytics and your insights to connect with things, and don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? So if one predominantly owned entity like, Meta for Facebook, owns all your social media, try and have another one as well, or have something else as a backup. The reason being, if they change something tomorrow or go, you've lost everything that's there. So also make sure you've always got everything backed up. You've got your original assets. You've got different approaches if you need, and you can change your strategy and adapt where needed. It's like life. We need to learn to adapt. Yeah. So use your data and analytics to see potential trends and how people are interacting, and change things according to their usage. So I always start small with something like the most maximum reach and just analyze how things are going along. Again, I think I'm digressing a bit, aren't I? All right, but so I said, stabilize, Facebook will be stable, new features and integrations continue to introduce. So they're actually putting up on, like, if there's new features, that's when the increase in adoption might come. But it also depends on, like everything, you can have like a brand kind of affinity to something. It depends what a country thinks about that brand. And Facebook might, for America and the UK is probably not the best affinity to it, but in Vietnam it might be. Okay. I'm not meaning to pick on Facebook the whole time. Sorry. I just feel in the mature markets, they are struggling to get a hold back on those markets. Okay, so it does think that it's going to be an increase, but I would just take this with a little bit of pinch of salt at the moment. Just gives you confidence in having a discussion about your knowledge and that with your client, but don't use it to predict and to forecast your strategy. It's way too far in the future anyway with socials. What else might I want to ask? Okay, so we know now the age groups. We know the cities with more propensity to go to a postgraduate MBA degree. God, I can't say that properly. We know that the purchases are very similar in terms of the social media channels. Don't get me wrong, if the treatment was for businesses, it might be different channels and approaches. And I'm not doing that at the moment, but you could look at that. So say if, there was a sponsorship for the MBAs or things like that, then you might go more the LinkedIn routes. But note, sometimes Facebook is classed as a professional channel in certain countries as well, especially in Asia areas. What else? We've looked at the gender splits on the more traditional, the old school, like female, male gender splits, just to give us some insights. We've looked at usage over time, and we kind of digressed and looked at the future, which take with a pinch of salt. We want to look at our competitors, and that helps us identify the unique messaging that we probably want to get across to that audience, why they might choose us, that differentiates us from the other similar organizations out there, other MBA universities. And we'll look at that as another section of this. What else? What might we do? We'd also then want to consider what that communication specifically style is, and we're going to create some examples. And we encapsulate that nicely in a strategy to lead our client through a story. So what's their original business goal? What was the research we've done around their audience? What is their unique messaging? And then how can we activate that messaging with content examples? Long way of me saying, I'll be back with another section of this course.